For decades, this slope was covered by a dense monoculture of mimosas. It was a major fire hazard and prevented native species from becoming established. But now, this place is changing. Before we can plant a Mediterranean garden, before people can work here surrounded by nature, and before wildlife can find refuge in the ponds we create, we need to first rebuild the landscape itself. But turning a degraded monoculture into a living garden isn't as simple as removing what was here before. Because the real challenge is this: how do you design a place that serves people, retains water, supports biodiversity, and helps reconnect an abandoned village with the forest around it? Welcome to Silvera Tech. We are regenerating 230 hectares of mountain landscape through reforestation, agroforestry, water management, and much more. We are working to turn this degraded land into a resilient ecosystem. After our post-fire recovery work, which included drone seeding and fencing off our young agroforest, we can finally start a new project, the co-working garden. The garden will be located right next to the co-working space, just below our current base camp. In the past, this slope was covered by a dense mimosa monoculture. Last year, we cleared it to create a fire break. Fortunately, we did it just in time. Only a few months later, a wildfire swept through our land and the fire break helped protect our base camp. Now it's time to give this slope a new purpose and bring it back to life.
Hello.
What are you doing? Or planning?
We are planning the next implementations. Yeah.
Design-wise and...
Design-wise. Yeah, we're not planning the implementation itself. We're planning, the design of the planning.
So we're planning the plan for the planning of the plans.
Of the plan to design the...
Yeah, designing the plan so we can plan the design.
So we can plan the design.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have a meeting about how to plan plans to design.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's later on. Before
That's
that, we have to design the plans so we know where the plans we design to plan.
Have you submitted the form to plan the plans?
Not yet.
Oh, so you need to submit the form.
We need to plan the submission then.
Estruturas para a água, caminhos, plataformas.
Yeah. Depois vai ficar estranho.
Yeah.
Mas
So we have the design, we thought about it here in the GPS. And now we're like going around and making sure that what we are designing makes sense in the landscape. Because what you do in the PC is completely different from reality. Yeah. Pastel. Não é 100% aquilo, tem sempre...
Onde é que estás por?
É daqui.
peraí,
É aqui.
é até aí.
What are the flags marking?
So these flags are marking what we call pocket terraces, or leveled platforms.
The platforms will be essential to the future garden. They will create shaded places where people can sit, meet, work and rest. At the heart of the garden, a cascade of ponds will step down the slope. Around them, a riparian zone, the lush ecosystem that grows naturally along the water's edge, will cool the air, increase humidity, filter the water, stabilise the soil and act as a fire break during dry summers. A refuge for wildlife, a retreat for people. The design is locked in. Let's get to work on those slopes.
Beginning the co-work garden.
Yes, very excited.
What's the plan for the next days?
So right now we're gonna prepare the terrain. We have a lot of dead trees from the fire. We have a lot of stumps from the trees. So we're gonna take everything out, prepare everything, make sure there's no obstacles, so that then we have space to work on and start making the paths and the small platforms and all of that.
Once the terraces are prepared, we can start working on the ponds.
We're making these small sort of shelves so that we can like place the rocks and create the sort of natural path
like
of the water.
pond and stream.
Yeah, it's gonna be like ponds and then a little stream that is connecting all of them.
Getting shaped.
Yes, we're finishing up the last ponds. Now it's gonna come one of the hardest parts. We're gonna have to take all the rock out. We're gonna put some good dirt that we have already there that we preserved before we're doing all of this. We're gonna spread it around. We're also gonna get some rock dust. We're gonna spread it around to make sure that it's just like smooth everywhere, because we need to protect the liner, the EPDM, which is the impermeabilized, it's a sort of a liner, yeah, it's an impermeabilized liner. And it's a very fragile, so we need to protect it. So that's why we're trying to take out all the rocks, because they are very sharp. We're gonna put some rock dust, some good dirt, and then it's the phase of putting the geotextile and the liner. While me and João and Blake are taking out the rocks and smoothing this out, Paulo is gonna take the big digger and he's gonna go to a place here in our lands, and he's gonna take some rocks. He's gonna use the ripper and break some rocks so that we can have like big boulders, so that then we can place on the ponds and make it really nice. That's why we created there a platform, so that we can start building up all the rocks that we want.
While Paulo gathers the boulders, a load of rock dust arrives, allowing our team to start filling the ponds with it.
We want these surfaces as smooth as humanly possible. We're gonna have to like compact all of this, water it, compact all of this, and after compacting still look for small stones that could damage the liner, remove them, and then probably compact again.
As summer approaches and working in full sun just becomes unbearable, our team switches to a new schedule. To make the most of the cooler hours, we now start work at 5 AM.
Morning.
Morning, João. How is it going? It's second day getting up at 5, right?
Yeah, the hardest part is just readjusting sleeping rhythms. Other than that, it's much better to start work at this hour.
Gonna have a sunrise soon there.
It's worth getting up this early just for the view. Reforesting 230 hectares of mountain is no small task. It takes serious effort and serious funding. We could chase corporate sponsors. Instead, we're building something more resilient, a community. When our funding comes from people who believe in this project, we stay independent, free to make bold decisions for the land, the wildlife, and the people here. That's what Patreon does for us. Join the community that's making it possible. Link in the description. Now let's get to work. The geotextile has arrived.
Tá bom, bora. Pegou aí por cima. Já tenho uma. So exciting day. Today we're putting the first liner on the first lake. So here we are already putting the geotextile, which is the first layer. Then we're gonna put the liner, which we already cut to the measure of the lake. And then we put another layer of geotextile, so that we can protect the liner very well from rocks and the rocks that are below and the rocks that I'm gonna put on top of that.
Two layers.
Now we can finally position the boulders that Paula and Pedro brought in.
Okay, we're here in the middle of the day. The process is going good. We already put 8 rocks, 8 big ones. So we're starting with the big ones. It's a bit of a tedious work because we need to be very detailed, very chirurgical, one by one. So we put each rock on the strap and we take it one by one carefully, and then we place it, understanding which face we want it to show well, and making sure that everything sits perfectly in the lake.
It's already looking promising. We need to place the remaining boulders before we can fill the bottom of the ponds with river rocks.
Pedro now is putting the small big rocks, and I'm collecting some a bit smaller rocks, not very small, but yeah, small enough, and I'm putting between the gaps of the big rocks. So yeah, basically we are using this to fill the gaps, only after we put the river rocks.
Finally, the river rocks arrived. We now have everything for the first stage.
I need big ones.
Just a few final touches. And the first pond is almost finished. It already looks beautiful. Just imagine water flowing through it, plants growing along the edges, and wildlife finding refuge here. The ponds won't just be beautiful to look at. Together with the surrounding riparian zone, they'll cool the air, filter the water, stabilise the soil, and create a haven for salamanders, dragonflies and birds, while offering people a shaded place to pause. Before we can even dream of having water here, there's still a lot of work ahead. We'll be documenting the entire process of building our co-working garden here on our YouTube channel. This project only happens because of our patrons. Thank you for making it real. And if you want to help, join the crew on Patreon. Link in the description. Take care, and I'll see you in the next episode.